The 2001 Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400 took place on November 4th at Rockingham Speedway. And while it may seem like just another race in the track's storied history, when you take a deeper look, it's much more than that. Because for one, and I mean one race only that season, it felt like the Contenders ceased to exist. This is when NASCAR Underdogs ruled for a day. Starting in pole position was Kenny Wallace, driving the #1 Pennzoil Chevy for the injured Steve Park. They wanted this track during the spring, so they certainly had a lot of notes to go off of. It also helps that Kenny Wallace had been doing a pretty good job filling in, and the previous day he won the NASCAR Busch Series race, and now is looking to sweep the weekend. To kick things off, the race had its first caution right away when Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Petty made contact, sending Kyle Petty spinning up turn number 1 and into Bill Elliott. Fortunately, it didn't begin a wreck fest, and once we got some green flag racing in, Kenny Wallace became the clear favorite early on.
Kenny Wallace has led all of the laps so far. One caution flag, it happened in turn 1, lap 1. When Kyle Petty and Bill Elliott crashed in that corner.
Tony Stewart taking the lead is really the first note of one of the main contenders actually making some noise. Jeff Gordon's leading the Cup Series standings by nearly 400 points, and even early on, he feels a tad bit off. All while Joe Nemechek in Andy Petree Racing's second car is getting better as the race goes on. He's leaving the team at the end of the season due to sponsorship pulling out, so a great run would obviously go a long way into landing another Winston Cup Series ride. Once the first green flag pit stop cycled through, Nemechek had a firm grip on the lead. A little later in the run, you began seeing Tony Stewart and defending Cup Series champion Bobby Labonte begin to catch up, but don't count out the 25 of Jerry Nadeau. To put it in more perspective, in this top 10 rundown, Tony Stewart is the only driver who is top 5 in points. Jeff Gordon, Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett, and Sterling Marlin are nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Bobby Labonte takes the lead from Joe Nemechek.
And we see Carl Long has made some contact with the wall. Is he going to bring out the caution flag?
And Kenny Wallace is in. They will make a track bar adjustment. They do right sides, and he's gone because of the caution. Could be a tough break for Kenny Wallace.
This could make things interesting.
Very good chance we are. Very good chance we are.
We're going to have to wait until the field comes back around to the start-finish line, but there is an excellent chance
97's the leader, and he is behind us.
that Kurt Busch is one of few remaining on the lead lap.
The second and final caution of the race now brings us the emergence of a new contender. Cup Series rookie Kurt Busch had shown some flashes during the season, but for the most part had struggled.
Kurt Busch is the leader, Kenny Wallace is second, Joe Nemechek is third, and there are 8 cars on the tail end of the lead lap in front of them.
Now this, folks, is real racing. Trying to stay in front of that leader, stay on the lead lap.
Not only do you have 3 underdog drivers battling for the win, but you also have the main contenders fighting to stay on the lead lap now because of that caution.
For the lead.
Kenny Wallace led 64 laps in this thing so far.
And Kenny Wallace takes the lead on the backstretch, coming off 2.
With 200 laps to go, we now have a top 5 consisting of Kurt Busch, Kenny Wallace, Johnny Benson, Joe Nemechek, and Jerry Nadeau. Meanwhile, the points leader Jeff Gordon isn't even running in the top 25.
He's driving for all he's worth.
Kenny, one of the drivers seeking that elusive first career NASCAR Winston Cup win. Could it be today here at Rockingham? Just past the midway point of the race, watching a great fight for the lead. Joe Nemechek trying to take second from Kurt Busch and the lead from Kenny Wallace all at once.
Well, he had Kurt Busch, but Busch has that great run off 2, takes the second spot back. All right, Nemechek's got in this time. Let's try it down in turn 1 and 2.
What he's hoping to do is try to get up far enough right there to when they get out the corner, they're even. So maybe he'll have a shot in 3 and 4, but like you said earlier, Alan, he needs that racetrack the one car is using to come off a 2. just can't get that forward bite.
For a little bit, all three were battling for the lead until eventually the 1 in 33 took off. Although Busch was only a little more than a second behind, eventually Joe Nemechek finally got by Kenny Wallace for the lead after riding behind him in what felt like forever, while in the process putting the runner-up in points, Ricky Rudd, a lap down.
Check this out. Here are the top 5 in today's race. Exactly 2 career Winston Cup wins between the 5 of them.
With this race only having 2 cautions, the margin for error was thin. Green flag pit stops were extremely important in this race. Nemechek and Wallace got through theirs no problem, but at the beginning of it, Kurt Busch had actually been the first of the 3 to make his stop, cycling him to a massive lead. But once we got to less than 100 laps to go, Joe Nemechek's car was clearly better on the long run, eventually taking the lead from Busch and put Jeff Gordon multiple laps down. The entire field made green flag pit stops for the final time, but unfortunately for one of the underdog driver turned contender for a day stories, it would come to a sudden end.
See, the thing just got overheated considerably, and he had no choice. It pushed all the water out of the radiator. And that's just steam. There's no water coming out now. And now we got a fire.
Matt?
There was a fire under the car. You can still see it through the wheel well as they were trying to cool off the 97 car. He came on the radio, so the car is losing power. I think it's out of water. You can see there's still the fireman is looking inside. They're going to spray their stuff in there to try to put this fire out, but it was starting to ignite big time under that hood of that 97 car, Benny.
Man, what a heartbreak. So well he ran today, but Winston Cup win number 1 for Kurt will not be here in Rockingham.
Kurt Busch's overheating problems spelled the end of his day, all while Joe Nemechek continues to put on a clinic. And really, that's where the race ends. Nobody had anything for him. Joe Nemechek went on to score his 2nd career Cup Series victory.
One more time around.
His 250th NASCAR Winston Cup Series start, victory number 1, came at Loudon, New Hampshire. September 1999. He was driving for Felix Sabates then. And now, November 2001. It's victory number 2.
Go down, baby. Yeah.
Joe Nemechek wins at Rockingham.
Never believe. Just gotta thank the Lord for a good, safe day, man. Andy, thank you very much. That's unbelievable. Buddy, thank you for our first Cup win.
That would be the last hurrah for ND Petrie Racing, as this would turn out to be the team's final Cup Series victory. And in less than 5 years, the team would be shut down for good. This victory for Nemechek was similar to his first in '99 at New Hampshire driving for Felix Sabates, as that victory also came after announcing he would depart the team. In the end, the 3 main underdogs of Nemechek, Wallace, and Busch led a combined 342 of the 393 laps, further proving that the NASCAR Underdogs truly dominated for one race only. Eventually, things got back to normal, and Jeff Gordon went on to win the 2001 Winston Cup Series championship in what would turn out to be his last. As for the underdogs of the story, Joe Nemechek went on to score 2 more Cup Series victories, totaling his career wins to 4 before retiring. Kenny Wallace spent the rest of his career as a part-timer in the Cup Series, while racing full-time in the Busch Series before retiring. Today, you can find Kenny Wallace, well, doing Kenny Wallace things on social media. And finally, that DNF pretty much summed up Kurt Busch's rookie season in a nutshell. Struggling for the most part, but at least showed some flashes of greatness. Thankfully, his potential would be realized, as 3 years later, he would walk away as the NASCAR Cup Series champion. He is now retired today, and will eventually be inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. From underdog to Hall of Famer, truly an amazing story. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This races Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.